Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Fantasy Fellowshow. My name's Kyle. It's our Tuesday night waiver wire show. So come on in, hang out. We'll get to some questions in the chat room. I'm going to kind of go over the news and just talk about some of the guys on the waiver wire report. The link in the description should have the waiver wire report for if you want to check out some of those names. But at the top of the show, I did want to just kind of cover some of the news and the notes that came out from today. We'll kind of just go through NBC Sports Edge here. I don't know what's going on with Will Fuller. I wouldn't expect him to play this weekend. At this point, it just sounds stupid. He's got a finger issue that's been holding him out for the full season. So we'll just kind of cross Will Fuller off our list for now. They're saying Odell Beckham's still a work in progress here. Antonio Brown making progress in his recovery from an ankle injury. I don't know if he's going to play this week. We'll have to watch the practice reports on him. I would not expect him to play. Allow yourself to be surprised if he does play. Good evening to Harris. Thanks for hanging out with us tonight. We got Jared Goff. He actually have the practice reports pulled up here. We'll kind of go over all the teams for Thursday's games. Jared Goff, limited yesterday, limited today. He's on track to play. So I think Goff's going to be the starter against the Chicago Bears. The Jets did place Joe Flacco on the COVID list, which means Zach Wilson's going to start. So we're going to see him play. I actually was more excited for the Jets fantasy offense if Joe Flacco was the QB. With Zach Wilson, that kind of makes those guys more of question marks at best. The Titans signing Golden Tate to the practice squad. That one's interesting. I thought Golden Tate had retired. It appears he is back. This happened because Marcus Johnson was put on injury reserve. A surprise move from the Titans, though. They did waive Adrian Peterson, so that's going to leave Deonta Foreman as the best, pure first and second down running back on the team. And then they have two kind of scat backs, Jeremy McNichols and Dontrell Hilliard. So if you guys need someone on the waiver wire for running back or just want to add someone for depth, I'm interested in Dontrell Hilliard. He did have a nice couple roles when he played in Cleveland. He had some nice games. So Dontrell Hilliard, that's kind of just a deep end, 12-team league if you need a running back there. There's the Zach Wilson news that he's going to start. Jared Goff limited. Tyron Smith was a full participant, so that's good news for the Dallas Cowboys running game. CeeDee Lamb, he didn't practice yesterday or today. I would hope that he doesn't play. I don't want to see a player play after 3 days from a concussion. I hope they hold him out, so I would expect no CeeDee Lamb in this one. Ezekiel Elliott, remember that scary kind of knee ankle injury that he had on Sunday against the Chiefs? It looks like he's fine. He's able to return to the game, full participant today. Good news for Zeke. I don't think we're going to see Allen Robinson on Thursday morning here. And they already ruled Andy Dalton as the starter here. I'm just kind of curious on the Bears, man. There's a chance we might not see Allen Robinson for a while with his hamstring injury. So we'll keep an eye on that. We have some updates on the Saints running backs. Mark Ingram was absent from the open portion today. So that's interesting. He was limited yesterday, downgraded to did not practice today. I don't know if that's a rest situation. And Alvin Kamara remained sidelined for Tuesday's practice. So I'm feeling like Kamara is doubtful. Ingram's a question mark at this point. So if you need to if say you have Ingram or Kamara and you just want to get a hedge there, Tony Jones Jr. would be the starter if Ingram and Kamara can't play. So I'm actually interested in Tony Jones if he is the starter. Cole Beasley limited. Again, they play on Thursday. I don't know how much I like Cole Beasley for fantasy, but we'll monitor him. Ray McLeod, the Steelers, put on the COVID list. We have Eric Ebron with a knee injury here. He's going to go under, it says season-ending knee surgery. So he's done for the year. That's big news for Pat Freiermuth here, who's going to be a tight end one the rest of the season. Jared Goff, again, leaning towards the quarterback. Some coaching news. The Giants fired offensive coordinator Jason Garrett. You see Freddie Kitchens. You guys remember him with Cleveland a few years back. He's the OC now. We'll see if that Giants offense can kind of get just rebooted and rejuvenated with some new energy there. There's the Andy Dalton news here. This was interesting. There's a report that was buzzing around today that Matt Nagy's going to get fired after the Thanksgiving game, which is kind of weird. We'll see what happens. The Texans waived Phillip Lindsay. I'll be curious to see where he signs. And then after that, that was pretty much the main news. So I did want to pop over to the practice reports and just kind of show you guys what's going on for Thursday's game before we get into the waiver wire stuff. So for the Lions, Jared Goff's probably going to play. Nobody really else was on the injury report here that mattered for fantasy. It's DeAndre Swift and TJ Hawkinson. That's about it. For the Chicago Bears, again, Justin Fields not playing. Marquise Goodwin, full practices. Darnell Mooney's limited with a foot injury. If Mooney goes, I do like Mooney as the best receiver play. And then Allen Robinson, we're expecting him not to play. So for the Bears, it's all David Montgomery and Darnell Mooney. Let's go to Dallas here, and we already kind of covered CeeDee Lamb, probably not going to play. Ezekiel Elliott looking good to go. Cedric Wilson, a waiver wire guy that we'll be looking at in a few minutes here. He's full practice Monday and Tuesday. He's probably the number 2 receiver in this one behind Gallup. I do think he's useful in PPR league, so I like Cedric Wilson there. Let's click on Las Vegas. Kenyon Drake, full practicing both days here, and then Jalen Richard, backup running back. So everything looks good to go for the Raiders. As far as guys you're going to want to use, Josh Jacobs, Darren Waller. Don't really know if I can trust Brian Edwards, but Hunter Renfrow is an interesting player for sure. Good evening, Aiden. Happy Thanksgiving week. I hope you guys are all having a good time this week for holiday seasons. But we're just kind of going over the Thursday the Thursday games. I'm looking at the practice reports. We just covered the Dallas-Vegas game. Now let's click on Buff. I'm excited about Buffalo, the Saints. For Buffalo, it's pretty healthy here. Only Cole Beasley's on the list. I don't know if I'm going to recommend Cole Beasley at all. And then the Saints. We are expecting Kamara probably to not play. He's got back-to-back DNPs. Mark Ingram, big day tomorrow for Mark Ingram. If he's DNP on Wednesday, he's probably not going to play. So if he gets a limited, he's in the right direction. And if no Ingram, no Kamara, Tony Jones Jr., probably the starting running back for the Saints. And I don't know, this weird contract that Taysom Hill got yesterday, the 4-year, $90-some million is really weird. I don't even know if we're going to see Trevor Simeon as the starter. I guess we'll wait and see. But Thursday night, we'll figure it out. Maybe Taysom Hill comes in for Simeon if he's struggling, that kind of thing. But I'm nervous about the Saints going up against Buffalo, probably a pissed-off Buffalo team after that embarrassing loss to the Colts. So I'm going to pop over to the fantasy. No, that's fantasy points allowed. Let's go to the waiver wire report. I did have a list of injuries to monitor here. We can kind of circle back to that, but I just wanted to shout out some quarterbacks that I like for streaming purposes. Kirk Cousins. I like Cousins, and I like Jimmy Garoppolo. I think that Minnesota-San Fran game is going to be a fun, high-scoring game. I think both secondaries are pretty vulnerable against QB and wide receiver. So Cousins and Jimmy G, I like those guys. Tua, he's been playing well. It's a tough game at home against Carolina. Carson Wentz, no thanks against Tampa Bay. Matt Ryan, hard to trust against Jacksonville. I love Cam Newton this week. Cam Newton at Miami. The Dolphins, one of the worst teams against the quarterback. Daniel Jones, not interested. Baker Mayfield, not interested. Somewhat interested there. Aiden, what do you think about Trevor Lawrence at home against Atlanta this week? I'm expecting good things from the Jaguars, especially James Robinson. It's a really good matchup for J-Rob. Laviska Shenault probably getting back into the slot there with Jamal Agnew done for the season. So I'm intrigued. Lawrence, J-Rob, Laviska, maybe Marvin Jones, maybe Dan Arnold. I'm open to some of the Jaguars being useful. Again, Justin Fields not playing. Mac Jones, favorable matchup against Tennessee. I only like him for Superflex leagues, though. But if you're streaming QBs, again, Cam Newton, maybe Matt Ryan, maybe Trevor Lawrence, maybe Ben Roethlisberger. The passing offense looked good against the Chargers. They're going to get on the road at Cincinnati. I do like Jimmy and Taylor Heineke, a friendly matchup against Seattle. Kind of saying no to some of these guys down here. And there we go. Dontrell Hilliard season. I have to add him to this list because I didn't update it after the Adrian Peterson news. But what do we do with Dontrell Hilliard? He's kind of the same player as a Jeremy McNichols, which worries me a little bit. But the fact that they cut Adrian Peterson in favor of Dontrell Hilliard should say a lot. So I'm excited about this Tennessee Titans backfield opportunity for Foreman for Dontrell Hilliard. I'm not as excited about McNichols. He's been a good player, but we have to watch and see. I think if you needed an RB4 or someone to plug in, maybe Hilliard can be the guy for you. But at the top of the list here, Kenyon Drake, Devin Singletary, whatever kind of handcuffs. I do like Tony Pollard this week as a top 30 running back. Again, all the injuries to Dallas wide receivers right now. Probably a heavy run day for the Cowboys against the Raiders. And the Raiders are one of the worst teams against the run. There's Deonta Foreman. And yeah, 10 targets and 9 rushing attempts. And there's a small chance that A.J. Brown's not going to play against the tough part is it's against New England, which is a good defense against the run. So I'm going to limit my expectations, but I do think Dontrell Hilliard, Deonta Foreman, these guys are worth a pickup for the rest of the season. Jeff Wilson, he didn't score last weekend. It was a low game for PPR, but he dominated the carries. He had like over 20 total touches, I believe it was, against Minnesota. That's a good matchup. And if Elijah Mitchell can't go, Jeff Wilson's a running back too. J.D. McKissick gets the Seattle Seahawks. That's one of the best matchups for running backs. Again, Adrian Peterson, I'll cross him off the list. But I like Ramondre Stevenson. I actually think there could be a small changing of the guard when it comes to Stevenson and Damian Harris. We'll see. I think both guys are kind of in a 50-50 split. I don't feel great about either guy. They're kind of the same in my eyes. I thought Damian Harris looked good with his touches, but Ramondre Stevenson had more carries and more yards last week. Alex Collins, kind of the last man standing against the Washington football team. So Seahawks, I don't know if I trust the running game. Not a great offensive line. Washington is pretty good. They're pretty good against the run, so I'm not excited about Collins. You got some handcuffs here: Devontae Booker, Jamal Williams, Chuba Hubbard against Miami. These are just all handcuffs that might be worth a stash. Probably my favorite pickups of the week, though, Devonta Freeman going up against Cleveland. I thought Freeman, with Latavius Murray back, who's right here, but Freeman dominated the snaps, the touches, and the reception. So Freeman, a pretty valuable PPR back right now going up against Cleveland. I expect Lamar to be back, so good news for Freeman in the future. David Johnson, this one's really interesting because they released Philip Lindsay today. So I like David Johnson, and I should probably add Rex. Yeah, I did add Rex Burkhead here. These both Houston running backs this weekend, only because it's the Jets. The Jets are the worst against the run. So I'm kind of interested in those guys. You have some more handcuffs here, whether it's Sony Michel, Jordan Howard, Boston Scott, Ronald Jones. And then maybe the pickup of the week is Ty Johnson. I don't know why I have Ty Johnson out. It's Michael Carter who's out for 2 to 3 weeks. So Ty Johnson and Tevin Coleman are going to kind of split this backfield. I'm not sure the exact percentages, but I would expect Ty Johnson to be the more fruitful fantasy back. He's been pretty good the last few weeks. Not last week, but up until that, he was a pretty good PPR scorer. Samaje Perine is worth a handcuff just because they're giving Joe Mixon a ton of touches. Mixon gets hurt every now and then, and Perine looks like he looks like a capable back. I would say he's almost like an Alexander Madison, where if Mixon or Cook goes down, Madison and Perine should be starting. So some interesting running backs there for you guys. And so what we're going to do here, I'm not going to make a video on Thursday. I think tomorrow night we will go live. I'll go live around, we'll do it at the same time, 7 p.m. Central. We'll go live. We'll do just our casual start sits. And then I think I might be able to squeeze one in on Friday evening. I know I can't do one for Saturday for sure, but I think Wednesday evening we'll do the start sit. So that's tomorrow night. And then Friday evening, we'll do another quick pop-up start sit there for you guys. I need a Jones news, bro. Plays Sunday, and there are 3 things. I need a Jones news. Aaron Jones? Aaron Jones isn't going to play if that's the Jones you're worried about. I would be shocked if Aaron Jones plays. Again, Green Bay has a bye next week. So I wouldn't hold out for Aaron Jones. I would expect him to be labeled out for sure. Some wide receivers for you guys. If any of these receivers are available, Jacoby Myers, Brandon Ayuk, Michael Gallup, I love them. Go add them right now. Robbie Anderson starting to look better. Darnell Mooney, he had 16 targets the other day. He only caught 5 of them, but he still had over 100 yards and a touchdown. I know it's Andy Dalton, but if no Allen Robinson and it's against Detroit, Darnell Mooney could be a nice wide receiver 3 for you the rest of the season as long as A-Rob is hobbled. Rashad Bateman versus Cleveland, I think he needs to be picked up. There's a chance Sterling Shepard plays this week. And I'm intrigued with him because when Shepard has played, he's been a really nice wide receiver 2 or wide receiver 3 in PPR leagues. I think we all gave up on Laviska Shenault maybe a week or 2 or a month ago, but now with Jamal Agnew out for the season, Laviska probably going to get more work in the slot, which is where he should have probably been from the get-go. But I'm excited for Laviska. He should have a high floor again in PPR leagues. Kadarius Toney, he looked really good. He had 12 targets last night. I think he's a guy that even with Sterling Shepard coming back, he probably has some value. Van Jefferson, just a deep play here. Probably the best receiver to pick up is Elijah Moore, but again, with Zach Wilson back, I'm not as excited. My bad, Harris. Let me look at this question real quick. Would you be okay with dropping on Zach Moss? I have Hunt, Montgomery, Gibson, and Eckler. We'll see you later, Zach Moss. No problem with that. Kareem Hunt has a chance to play this week, so that's pretty cool. Otherwise, for sure, week 14. But I think right now, Monty, Gibson, and Eckler are all really good plays this week, so you can say see you later to Zach Moss. So my bad. I'm sorry I missed your question. I'm going to say no CD for sure. With concussions, man, especially so Sunday, they just played Sunday, and you're gonna tell me he's gonna play another game in 4 days? I think I saw a stat where there's never been a player who had a concussion on Sunday and got cleared for Thursday Night Football. So it's like 99% sure that he's not gonna play. I would be shocked if they ran CeeDee Lamb out there. And then Kamara, again, I don't know if I see the benefit of having him play in a short week. We'll see. I can't really say if he's going to be in or out. I think tomorrow will tell us. If he's limited, he's probably got a chance to play. If he's DNP, I'm going to say no Alvin Kamara. But we're watching AK-41 and Mark Ingram tomorrow. So big day for the Saints running backs tomorrow. But Marquez Callaway, another wide receiver, he's playing well. I don't want to go against the Buffalo Bills right now. Mecole Hardman, I don't know if I want to hold him into 10 and 12 man leagues. AJ Green, not excited about him. You can cut him over the bye. Will Fuller, man, I want to see him back on the field, but I just don't know when it's going to happen. Rondale Moore had the nice 11 catch game the other day. He's worth a snag over the bye week if you can hold on to him. Not interested in T.Y. Hilton. Jamison Crowder is intriguing if you need someone just at the end of your bench. Tim Patrick got paid the last time we saw him before the bye week. And Cortland Sutton did as well, too. But it's the Chargers. I don't know if I like Tim Patrick here. Russell Gage is interesting. He did have like 9 PPR points last weekend against the Patriots. Maybe Jacksonville provides a little bit better floor. Bryan Edwards, you're never going to comfortably start him. But I'm intrigued with the Patriots receivers, Kendrick Bourne and Nelson Aguilar. I was actually looking at this. Kendrick Bourne is currently wide receiver 31 in PPR format. So if you just kind of hold your nose and just throw him out there, you will see that earlier in the season, he didn't really play that many snaps. He only had 3 targets in each of those games, a 2.7 and a 4.6. But since then, you see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 games over double digits, and an 8.9, a 6.4, 5.8, and a 6.8. So he's got about a 6-point floor. If you can stomach that, or if you need to throw somebody out there for Tyreek Hill or something this week, Kendrick Bourne, I'm intrigued with him, which is with a good matchup. And yeah, just the running backs right now, man, it's frustrating. I think a lot of people's waiver wires look like this with, Devonta Freeman, Devin Coleman, Rex Burkhead, Dontrell Hilliard, Samaje Perine. I think at this point, Tony Jones Jr. does have a chance. He has a small chance to start on Thursday against Buffalo. I also think Samaje Perine, probably one of the best backup options on most people's waiver wires right now. Again, if anything happens to Mixon, Samaje Perine could be a league winner down the stretch here. And then some of the guys at the top here, I do like it. So there's some fruit left on the trees. I do think David Johnson intrigues me as well. Let me get back to the waiver wire report. Sammy Watkins, I don't know if I'm ever going to trust him in Baltimore. Amon-Ra St. Brown, he continues to play well. He gets a lot of snaps as a rookie. You're just never going to feel good about it. I'm going to pass on the Saints receivers. But MVS, Marquez Valdes-Scantling, if I see that Allen Lazard's not playing again, I kind of like MVS against the Rams as a dark horse, deep wide receiver 3 flex in 12-man leagues. I'm interested in Tre'Quan Smith in the long term, not starting him this week. And then Cedric Wilson, I'm interested this week, not long term, as we expect Amari Cooper and CeeDee Lamb to be back for week 13. And then I just want to shout out DeAndre Carter because he's been catching TDs the last few games. Van Jefferson or Robbie Anderson rest of season. So I do like Mr. Van Jefferson. I just want to see. I mean, technically, I kind of view, Cooper Kupp's the one. He's the one in LA, and then after that, I think there's a close competition between Van and OBJ as the lead wide receiver too. So I'm actually open to Van Jefferson, one, because he's attached to Stafford on an offense that throws the ball a lot. Robbie Anderson, I'm interested. He's the wide receiver 2 for sure on that team, but it's Cam Newton, more of a run-centric offense. I don't really see a lot of opportunities for touchdowns. Where Van Jefferson, the last 4 games, he had been playing pretty well, even with a healthy Robert Woods. So I think Van Jefferson probably the rest of the season. And then you look at the schedule coming up: Green Bay, Jacksonville, Arizona, Seattle, Minnesota, Baltimore. Not really scary. So I think I'd rather attach myself to the Rams passing attack. So I'll say Van Jefferson. Thoughts about Trevor Simeon this week? Only as an emergency quarterback 2 for Superflex leagues. I'm slightly I'm not excited to play a quarterback against Buffalo. Buffalo, for one, okay, so imagine this. They just allowed Jonathan Taylor and the Colts to go nuts over them. Buffalo still allows the fewest points in PPR formats here. So they only allow 10.68 points per game to the quarterback. Even though Carson Wentz played well last week, he only had 100 yards and a touchdown. So teams might be electing to run the ball more. I don't know how that's going to work, but I'm not excited about Simeon. He actually was able to salvage his day last week with a lot of garbage time. He threw for 2 touchdowns and ran for 1. I think it's going to be a little bit tougher against Buffalo, even though it is at home. So again, tough matchup for Buffalo or for Trevor Simeon and the Saints. He's not a fraud. No, he's not a fraud. His problem is that the targets there's just too many other good weapons where sure, one game he will be like the lead target guy, but the next game you're clicking with CeeDee Lamb or Cooper or Gallup. So I wouldn't say he's a fraud. He's a really good tight end, but he's frustrating to start. But I think for this week, considering no CeeDee Lamb and no Amari Cooper, Dalton Schultz is probably a pretty good play. And if you look at teams that allow a lot of tight end points, I mean, the Raiders are number 3. They allow 16.57 PPR points to the tight end. So if we expect Dalton Schultz to get almost all of the tight end points for Dallas, you're probably looking at something like 60 yards and a touchdown, 4 catches or something like that. So I do like Dalton Schultz quite a bit this week because of the no receivers there. And let's look at the tight ends now. Dalton Schultz is probably added in most leagues. Zach Ertz and Travis Kelce are on bye this week. So if you need guys, Hunter Henry versus Tennessee, I'm intrigued. Pat Freiermuth, though, with that news of Eric Ebron being done for the year, Freiermuth he's going to be a steady 5 to 6, 7 targets per game. He's getting touchdowns now. Big Ben trusts him, and the people love him. If you ever watch a Steelers game, you hear the youth, So I like Pat. He's playing really well for a rookie tight end, and he's going to be a beast, man, coming up in the future. I really like Pat. Jared Cook, tough matchup against Denver. Logan Thomas, though, if he's hanging out there, it sounds like he's on track to play this week. We'll see if they can fire him up. He does play Monday Night Football. Conklin, tough matchup against San Fran. I do like Dan Arnold and Evan Ingram. Now, if we look at, again, tight end points allowed here, the Eagles allowing the most PPR points to the tight end by almost 3 points. And they play the Giants, which is Evan Ingram. It doesn't feel great to start Evan Ingram, but who knows? Maybe with this new offensive coordinator, they find a new way to get players involved in better routes, just better play calling, hopefully, with Jason Garrett out of the way. So I like Evan Ingram. And then the Falcons, where is Atlanta? Am I just missing them? Where am I missing him? So Dan Arnold versus the Atlanta Falcons. Where is the Atlanta Falcons? So they're middle of the road here. They do allow almost 12 PPR points to the tight end. So I don't know how to explain his 0 targets last week, but I'm open to Dan Arnold having a good game. And then one of the sleepers I like this week is Austin Hooper. Again, he's actually been playing better the last few games without Odell Beckham. I'm just going to pull up Hooper's numbers real quick. So the last 2 games, 12.5 points against the Patriots, and last week, 7 targets. That's the most targets he's seen all year. 4 catches for 53 yards. So he's stacking 2 nice games in a row against Baltimore, a team that allows the 4th most tight end points. I'm open to Austin Hooper having a nice game, so I hope that helps sway some decisions. Uzama, Komet, not interested. Gerald Everett, I'm somewhat interested. He's starting to really take over the snaps there for Seattle over Will Dissly. He's had kind of 2 nice games in a row. Ferkser, Donald Parham, no thanks. Pat Freiermuth or Hunter Henry, non-PPR. So in a non-PPR league, that means you strictly want touchdowns, right? So let me just pull up Pat Freiermuth, and we'll compare Pat versus Henry. Now, I know this is PPR format, but on the season, you're looking at more yards for Hunter Henry and more touchdowns. So I think for me, it's Hunter Henry, and he's shown the ability to just catch touchdowns, man. You see he had a streak of 4 games here with touchdowns. 1 touchdown, 2 touchdowns. So he didn't score one last weekend, so I would bet probably a good chance that he scores this week. So I like Hunter Henry for the rest of the season. But something about Pat Freiermuth, man, he's really coming along. He's had 4 touchdowns in his last 4 games, and his targets per game have been up. So if this continues, I could argue that it's Pat Freiermuth. They get the Bengals, the Ravens, the Vikings, the Titans, the Chiefs, and the Cleveland Browns. So I think for me, I might actually, the stats say Hunter Henry, but I'm gonna tell you Pat Freiermuth. That's what I like. Miles Sanders for the playoffs. I do like Miles Sanders. So I was unsure on whether people should start Miles Sanders last week. I just wasn't sure how much snaps and touches he would get. But he looked really good. He ran the ball 16 times. That was the most he's ran it all year. He had his best total yardage output. No catches, but he was used. You're going to get the Giants and the Jets, especially next week. Sanders is a top 10 running back, I think, the next week or two. Washington, tougher matchup. The Giants, good matchup. And then Washington, kind of tougher matchups. If I just show you the fantasy points allowed for running backs, you see Washington does rank pretty good against the running back. So I don't like those matchups, but the 3 New York matchups I do like. So it's kind of 3 good games, 2 not so great games. So I think that I don't know if I need Sanders on my fantasy roster for the playoff run, but at least for the next 2 weeks, he's a really good play. And then if you guys are streaming defenses, so I'm assuming Buffalo, these teams here that I have highlighted, I'm assuming they're not available in your league. So what do you do if those teams are gone? I do really like Carolina at Miami this week. Carolina is fighting for their lives, their playoff lives with Cam Newton. I would expect a good game from Carolina. The Dolphins, they've won 3 in a row. They've been using up kind of all their luck the last 3 games. I think I'd rather have Carolina over Miami. Dallas, Las Vegas is limping as an offense right now. And despite the Cowboys' offensive problems last week, they held the Chiefs to 19 points. So I'm expecting good things from the Cowboys D. I think my favorite 2 defenses to pick up, Carolina, Dallas. I'm intrigued with the football team because it's Seattle. Seattle's offense has just been garbage for the last month and a half or so. And then the Bears, Chicago Bears against the Lions. It's hard to trust a shitty team right now, but it is Detroit, and Chicago could have a nice Thanksgiving Day. And then if you need someone that should be available in most leagues, it's probably the Eagles at the Giants. I don't know what we're going to get with Freddie Kitchens and that Giants offense. I know Daniel Jones has not been playing well, and the Eagles are playing well as a team right now. So I like the momentum there. So I hope that helps for defenses. But I don't know. We've been going live for about 27 minutes. If you guys have any more questions, fire them away. Otherwise, I'm going to duck out of here. I got some work and some other things to get going on here. I'm going to start working on the start sits. If you wanted to check out thefantasyfellowship.com, I did post the first 3 Thanksgiving games. So if you want to look at what I got here for Chicago and Detroit, go ahead and take a peek. The Raiders and the Cowboys, go ahead and take a peek. And then the Buffalo Bills and the New Orleans Saints. So I'll get working on some of the Sunday games. Let me see what Harris got. Rank these guys for rest of season. Elijah Moore, Darnell Mooney, Michael Gallup, Jerry Jeudy. Okay. So I love Elijah Moore. It's hard for me to rank him now that Zach Wilson is the quarterback. I don't know what to trust. I trust that they're going to try and find ways to get him the ball. So Mooney definitely, or Elijah Moore definitely excites me. But to be honest with you, like all of these guys are fringe top 40 wide receivers any given week. I don't think there's anyone that stands out. For this week, Michael Gallup stands out just because no CeeDee Lamb, no Amari Cooper. But when those guys return, Michael Gallup, his value is, 8 PPR points as his floor. And then it's going to be kind of, boom bust in between there. I think Jerry Jeudy's probably the safest player of the group here. We know Teddy Bridgewater is his favorite target. So I like Jeudy the best. Judy's my favorite. With Darnell Mooney, the Bears offense, man, I just don't know what to do with that Bears offense. Let me pull up Mooney's stats real quick, actually. And actually, while we're here, let's go ahead and we'll plug in Mooney. We'll plug in Moore, Elijah, and we'll plug in Gallup, and let's plug in Jeudy. Okay. So just on the season whole here, Darnell Mooney's averaging the most points per game at 12.5. I don't know what this foot injury is for him, but he's coming on the last 3 games. Like the targets are there, the touchdowns are there. So maybe Mooney's the best play the rest of the way. I'm going to rank Mooney number 1. I'm going to rank Jerry Jeudy number 2. I like Jerry Jeudy's targets, the yards, and I think the catches are going to stay consistent. Every time you put him out, you can expect 11 to 12 points. On the worst here, he'll probably start catching touchdowns soon. So Mooney, Jeudy, and then I think I'm going to take, again, I really wish Joe Flacco was the QB here. This is insane, though. Despite playing with Flacco and Mike White the last 3 weeks, I think I'll put Elijah Moore at 3, Gallup number 4. But if you need one for this week, it's Gallup for this week. And again, this is kind of his floor. 7 to 9 points, that's his floor. I would expect some good games coming soon for this season finish. But I think if you want the safest play, it might be Mooney, because I just don't know if I trust Allen Robinson to play anytime soon with that hamstring. But either way, I like all 4 of these guys. These guys are all really good wide receivers, and I think they can be top 30, top 40 receivers the rest of the way. So really good question there, Harris. I don't know if I answered that well. I like all of them quite a bit, so I hate picking these guys. So I hope that helped a little bit. And yeah, we'll see. But anyways, that was the Waiver Wire show. I'm going to get out of here for tonight. We'll see you guys on Wednesday evening. We'll go live at 7 p.m. Central Time. If you guys have your questions, fire them up. Or you can reach me on Twitter, TikTok, whatever you need. Or comment the video, whatever you need. So thank you guys so much for your time. Have a good rest of your Tuesday evening. Good luck on your waivers, and we'll see you tomorrow. Peace.